Hi guys. I'm not really gonna look at the camera too much because I'm actually driving, and I had some thoughts, so I just wanted to. I realized I was kind of like just talking away and thinking to myself as I'm driving along, and I'm like, I guess I feel like I should just record because it just makes sense. But what's kind of funny is I just did some recordings this morning for the very first time, and just kind of talking about who I am and on my journey and what I'm doing and where I'm going and blah blah blah. I don't know, and about my setup and things like that or whatever. And I went back, I started posting a few of the videos, and then I went back and I realized that it's really awful, but it's almost exciting. It's so cool because I'm like a baby, right? I'm just starting this and I'm just learning. So my videos were ending mid mid talking about something, and I don't even know. There's so much room for improvement. I guess that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's kind of funny. So anyways, what was I thinking about? I was thinking about how time. I wanted to mention time. I recognize that time is the greatest gift. I've been saying that all along since I started traveling a year and a half ago. I've been saying it constantly. It's probably one of the greatest things that I've recognized is the greatest gift is time. If you guys think about it, most of you guys are on a schedule, and time is so significant to most people. You have appointments. You have to be there by a certain time. You start school at a certain time. You start work at a certain time. You're meeting with someone at a certain time. You need to be in bed by a certain time, maybe. You get up at a certain time. Everything revolves around time, if you think about it. I'm sure not for everyone. And then that's where I was going with this, is that I recognize how it's the greatest gift to have time to be used, I guess, for whatever it is that you want. So this last year and a half that I've taken this time to time was not existent. Time didn't matter. I can't tell you guys how many times I would walk into a business or whatever, especially in the smaller towns. I think part of the reason why I don't like to engage in cities too much is the mentality that's in the cities is just not for me. Some people I know love that race and the hustle and the bustle, and I've met people that say, I love the city, I just love being in it, and that's fine. We're all different, like I said before, so whatever. But for me, I'm someone that absolutely loves to engage with people, and when I know right away, it doesn't take long. You can just say, hello, how are you feeling today? Oh, and that's another wonderful phrase that I've come up with that I like to. It was actually a Mexican lady friend of mine that I met in Mexico that she taught me that. She says, I always ask how people are feeling, as opposed to how are you? Because if you think about it, when you know how normalized how are you is, that's what we all say to, hey, how are you? And what do you respond with? Good. Okay. I don't know. You're not even thinking about how you really are. You just respond. It's just a habit, right? It's like smoking cigarettes or whatever. I don't know. It's just a habit. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I just think it's cool that she shared that with me, and I picked up on it, and I'm like, can I use that? Because I want to use that. When I discover good stuff, or not discover, when someone tells me something cool, I'm just like, oh man, can I please use that? Do you mind? Because I want to use that because it's good. Anyway, so now that's my whole thing. I always ask people how they're feeling, and it's so interesting. It's so interesting because you know what? Go ahead. I'm giving you the okay. Go ahead, use it. because, and just try it. It's so interesting, because what happens is you get a completely different response from people, and sometimes you shock them. It's almost like saying good morning in areas where people are not expecting a good morning. In a big city, walking down the street saying good morning to everybody, it's like, who's this crazy guy? Yeah. Anyways, I won't get into that again. Yeah, just try it out, because it's really cool. It's really cool how people respond to different things when you switch up the norm. But back to where was I? Oh, time being the greatest gift. Honestly, so it all started when I went out to the East Coast in the beginning of my journey, and I was going through these little towns where there's not as much population, and the businesses aren't near as busy, and they just don't have constant traffic coming in, and nothing against the cities, but that is a part of the problem. Is that say for example, you go in and get a coffee at a Starbucks. Well, there's 10 people behind you, right? So it's not like you can stand there and engage with the person behind the counter for 10 minutes. That's just not, they'll lose their job. And it's just so it's a shame, because it is something that we've all gotten away from, just simply having time for whatever. I love myself personally. I'm grateful for the time. When I speak of this, is for me to go with the flow. I never know what I'm doing from one day to the next. I don't know where I'm staying. I don't know where I'm sleeping. I don't know who I'm going to run into. I don't know where I'm stopping. I don't know anything. And that's the greatest gift, the flow, to be able to just be in the flow, right? The flow is the unknown. And even right now, I'm driving through northern Michigan. I have no idea where I'm going. I kind of looked at my maps. I have an idea. 3 hours from now, before it gets dark, I looked at iOverlander. I've got a couple of places that I got maybe possibilities or whatever, but I'll look again when I get closer, because again, I don't even know what's going to happen from now until that 3 hours from now, right? I might stop, I might talk to someone, and they might say, come and stay at my place, or they might say, well, why don't you stay over here? It's amazing. Or you don't know, right? So living, not closing doors is my whole thing. I love leaving all doors open. It's beautiful. It's the greatest way for all opportunities to come your way. It's everyone being on a schedule, and time being so significant in an unhealthy way is it's difficult for me. It's difficult since I've removed myself from it. It's very difficult to witness. It's difficult. I've met with friends recently, and they're like, well, I can meet you at noon, and then I got an appointment at 1, so I could squeeze you in for an hour. And I'm just like, fuck. Well, I should watch my language, because YouTube asked me if I want to, apply to all ages, or if, so I think if I just leave my F-bombs out of, so I don't know. I don't know if I can edit that out or not. I'll have to try. Because, the thing is that I believe I would love to be thinking that, I would love to think that I can be speaking to all ages and all, I don't want to be like, well, this is 18 plus and this is, whatever. That's garbage to me, because there could be someone that's sitting at 17 or 16 or whatever, and 15, 14, even. I feel like I could be speaking to I told you guys about my little brother, right? And he's 14, just starting high school. I would talk to him just like the same as I am talking right now, just exactly like this, because you know what? We're all, it's whatever. Anyways, it's irrelevant. So I guess I got to watch my language then. And I used to be a trucker, so I used to have a trucker mouth, which, if anyone knows that reference, it's like you swear a lot, right? So I did used to have quite the trucker mouth, and every other word was an F-bomb and things like that. So I don't know. I occasionally still drop it in there, but I obviously I don't use it. I use it in the right way. And I remember teaching my daughter this at a young age. I remember saying to my daughter, I used to use the F word, and when she was even not young, but I mean, whatever, I don't know, 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever. But I used to always teach her that it was okay. I feel personally, this is just my opinion. no one needs to like be like, well, that's wrong or whatever. It's just my opinion. And it's, you know, there is no book on parenting. First of all, I've seen some really crappy parenting, and we all have. And and it's not that it's crappy. It's just that, you know, it's that no one knows. It's not like that's something you even go to school for, right? That's a whole nother subject of its own, is parenting. I'll save that for another day. But I mean, you know, some of us do amazing things and some of us don't do great things. And some of those people that do amazing things also do crummy things. There's a whole huge thing going on that's like, there's just no perfection. There's no right way. There's no wrong way, which makes sense too, because like I talked about before, everyone's completely different and we're all different. And then that's a whole nother subject too that I don't agree with, that I'll get into another time too, probably, about, you know, I don't know, I don't even know, I'm afraid to say it, but you know, doctors and therapists and all those things. Like, I mean, they're treating a lot of people the exact same way. Well, you have this symptom, so this is what you're going to get, and this is what the book tells me to prescribe, and blah blah blah. And oh my God, it's just, it's really awful when you think about it. If you believe that we are all different and we're all individual and then how could you possibly treat someone exactly the same as someone else? It just doesn't make any sense if you think about it. It doesn't make any sense at all, period. So the whole system is broken everywhere. But I'm totally off topic now and completely away from the time. But you know, like I was saying to you guys, you know, in one of my earlier videos, you'll notice that I jump all over. Well, you'll either like it or you won't. And I don't care. It's fine if you don't. I mean, I just I want to talk to the world, and I want to talk to you guys, and it's just going to be in my way, and however that is, right? So anyways, sorry, back to the well, and I got to stop saying sorry, because really, I tell people all the time when they say sorry to me, there's nothing to be sorry about. There's nothing to be sorry about. You should never be sorry, because whatever it is that was said or whatever it was that happened, it's either an emotion or it's like, anyways, it's just who you are. And so there's really not, I mean, I shouldn't say that, you know, I guess if you've recognized that you've been very hurtful to someone, or you know, have it, you know, it's been a negative thing or something like that, then of course, I guess, yeah, it makes sense to apologize and own up, you know, I'm a man that's comfortable owning my stuff, and I'm a man that's also comfortable crying. You know, I remember having this conversation with someone back, I think in the East Coast, and they were telling me about how, you know, it's wherever they came. I think there's an Acadian culture, and I learned a little bit about it out in the East Coast, and I actually wasn't even aware of an Acadian culture. I didn't even know it existed. I didn't even know what it was. Anyways, I learned a lot about it, but I believe it was someone in that culture that was telling me some of obviously the historical horror stories too of years ago, of the, you know, Britain coming in and the British coming in and just like shipping them off in the boats because they had the numbers and the masses, and they just showed up and just shipped off into boats and said, just leave. Like, they just said, go and get out of here, and we're taking over the land. And that's a whole other thing that I had no idea about, it's not something they teach you in school. So yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot of stuff that I don't know, but there's a lot of stuff that we probably should know about. You know, anyways, I don't want to get too far off of topic, but because I was just excited actually originally to talk about the time being the greatest gift, right? I mean, it's nuts. You know, I got some beautiful family and beautiful friends and my tribe members, and it's difficult when you're not in that time schedule. It's difficult to be in it, and the only reason me not being in it, if that makes sense to you, is because of who I'm engaging with, right? So that's why I was saying it was refreshing when I would go to places anywhere. You know, I was referencing the East Coast, but it's everywhere that I've gone where people have had the time for me. And, you know, I've had 2-3 hour conversations standing in the middle of someone's business floor talking with the owner or the worker that works there. And like all of a sudden 3 hours has gone by, you know, and of course, you know, you're somewhere where they don't have the mass population coming in and coming in and interrupting, or, well, and that's a whole nother thing too. It's beautiful when you recognize that the divine gifts you that, I've even seen people come up to the window of a business and they look in and they're looking in and they go to reach for the door handle, and then I know what's happening, but they get drawn away, right? And it's to give that space to you and the person, the other beautiful soul that you're having a connection with, that time, for whatever it is. It's always different, and it's whatever it is, it could be it's for both of you, which I talked about before. Everything is for both of you, but anyways, it's just so beautiful when you have that time to just be and to be in the moment and to engage and to stay in that moment too, right? Like I don't look at my phone. I haven't looked at my phone in a year and a half, or I say phone because I wore a watch years ago when I was a kid, but I don't know. I'm not interested in wearing a watch, and I don't wear a watch. So of course, I reference my phone as far as looking at time, but it's the most amazing thing when, you don't have to be like, well, sorry, I got to get going because I got to be here or there or whatever, which I realize that's reality. But all I was saying was I recognize it's such an amazing gift, right? Excuse me. And I don't even think it's something that has to do with being retired or anything like that, because I've met people that are retired that are not really retired. They didn't retire. They didn't retire the time. They didn't retire the schedule. They didn't retire the schedule. They just, they retired. They're not going to their everyday job, but they inherited something else, right? They inherited, well, I got golf at 7 a.m. and then I got to go to lunch at 1, and then I'm meeting so-and-so at this time, and this, it's still all scheduled, right? And that's just what I'm talking about. That's what it does. So it has nothing to do with being, and some of you will be listening saying, well, I'll live that life when I'm retired. But will you though? You know what I mean? Will you actually just not put anything on your plate and not have any appointments, not have any schedules? I get it. It's okay. You want to go to the dentist, you're going to make an appointment. You got to be there at a certain time, right? And I need to do that too occasionally. But, I set aside this time in my life to not have that. And it's been, and unless you actually do that, I guarantee, I'm sure, I'm positive. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming, this is something I will assume. I'm assuming there's people that go through their life that will never actually experience and feel that tremendous gift, or that tremendous feeling of how incredible that is to just be in the flow. Right? To just be in the flow of whatever comes your way, whatever comes up, just, not knowing 1 minute from the next, and just going with whatever it is, whatever. I don't know. Like me, I look at my maps every morning or whatever, and I just go, okay, I want to go in this direction. And sometimes I end up turning left or right, and I didn't know, or I don't know. Sometimes I just look at my northeast, southwest, and I say, okay, well, I know I want to go north, or I want to go west, or I want to go east. And, and a lot of my journey, I just recently came across the entire U.S. I left La Paz area in Baja California, Mexico in, I don't know, man, was it beginning of June, or I don't know, the end of May I left, and I drove across the US, and my goal coming across the US on an angle was to never hit a major city and to never hit an interstate. And I can't say that I did the city thing. I accomplished that. I came pretty close to Minneapolis. I had a friend there, and she agreed to meet me out out on the outskirts. I said, I can't go in, man. I've come this far, right? I can't do it. So anyways, I did in the interstate, it's tricky in spots. I mean, I tried my hardest. And my whole reasoning for that, I'm just gonna put it in park here, and I can actually look at you for a second, because I'm actually somewhere where there's a whole big bridge going up, because there's a boat going to be going by through the canal, I guess, here in this town. I don't even know where I am. It's a cute little town though. Anyways, I'm off topic here, but so yeah, it's just yeah, I'm kind of losing my thing, so maybe I'm going to end this one. Definitely, I definitely highly recommend that you guys, please, 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 at some point in your life, whenever it may be, just keep it in mind to try to gift yourself the greatest gift of time. And whatever that means to you. It might mean something completely different to you than it means to me. And that's okay. But I think you understand from what I've said what I mean by the gift of time for your own self. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna end you with that, because I feel like I've just my brain's kind of like bleh. Yeah. I'll see you next video. Adios.